Here we have some of the apps by Food Cloud Plus available on Microsoft App Source, and today we'll be discussing some of the functionalities of the Sales Offers app, specifically the Sales Rebates module of the Sales Offers app. We'll go through an overview of what Sales Offers is, specifically the Sales Rebate module. We'll go over how to set it up and how Sales Offers works in Business Central. The Sales Offers app allows users to enact effective marketing strategies, such as rebate initiatives, to attract customers, boost sales, and reward customer loyalty. You can create, customize, and manage different rebate programs based on the combination of items and customers, and you can enact different calculation types depending on the program. Rebates can be calculated on a per unit of measure basis. For example, you can create a rebate program that applies a rebate of 2 cases whenever 100 cases of the item sausage have been purchased. And they can also be calculated as a percentage of sales amount. For example, applying a rebate of 5% of the total sales line to a particular customer. With sales rebates, you can easily access rebate history, reverse rebates through sales credit memos, and apply rebates to customers manually through the rebate journal. Now on to our setup. Our first step in the setup process is to complete the Sales Offers setup page. There are different ways to access this page, and there are 4 specific fields that we'll be paying close attention to and discussing. The one way to complete Sales Offer setup is to go to the Assisted Setup page and search for Sales Offers. If we click on Set up Sales Offers, we'll prompt the Sales Offers Setup wizard, and we can go through and fill out the fields as required. Another way is to go to the Manual Setup page, and once again, search for Sales Offers. And if we click on Sales Offer Setup, we'll open the Sales Offer Setup page this way. Of course, however, we can just search for Sales Offer Setup directly and open up the page. Now on the Sales Offer Setup page, there are 4 fields: the Calculate Sales Credit Memo Rebates button, the Rebate Number Series field, the Rebate General Journal Template Name field, and the Rebate General Journal Batch Name field. The Calculate Sales Credit Memo button is used to specify if we want to keep the same criteria and calculation methods when reversing a sales order through a sales credit memo. If we switch this button on, the sales credit memo will have the same criteria and calculation methods as its corresponding sales document. However, if we leave it off, we can manually reverse the rebate through the rebate journal. In the Rebate Number Series field, we'll select the number series we want to use for rebates. Here we've created a specific number series titled Rebates. In the Rebate General Journal Template Name field, we'll specify the general journal template we want to use for posting rebates into the general ledger. And in the Rebate General Journal Batch Name field, we'll specify the general journal batch we want to use for posting rebate entries into the general ledger. The next step in the setup process is creating a rebate card. A rebate card holds the data that describes the parameters of a rebate. It identifies the items and customers it will be applied to, the calculation of the rebate, and it will direct the registration of the rebate transaction into the appropriate accounts. To set up a rebate card, we must fill out the fields on the card as necessary and assign the card to a customer and item depending on the rebate program. So from here, we'll search rebates. And here we have a rebate card already set out, but to create a new one, we'll click on New, and we'll fill out the fields as necessary. First off, in the number series, we'll select the number series you want to use, and we can see that this rebate is now rebate 8, R8. In the starting date field, we'll specify the starting date, the date we want this rebate to be effective from or applicable from, and we can also specify an ending date in which the rebate will no longer be available or applicable. We'll move on to the description, where we can specify the description of the rebate and give it a sort of a name. I'll refer to this one as Meat Delivery Rebate Plan. Now, the rebate category code field, we can select a rebate category code, and these codes are used predominantly to organize different rebates together. Here we have one made for meat products, which I want to apply to this rebate as well. So I can select the rebate category code meat that I've created. Moving on to the currency code, we can select the currency that we want this rebate to apply to. And in addition, we can also leave this currency field blank. It's important to note that rebates will not apply to sales document lines in which the currency code is different than the currency code specified in the rebate card. However, if we leave the currency code field here blank, this rebate will apply to the system's default currency. Moving on to the calculation details fast tab, we can specify some fields on how we want the rebate to be calculated. In the calculation type field, we have two options, per unit of measure and percentage of sales amount. The per unit of measure calculation goes by a specific specification of a unit of measure code. For example, we can go with cases, and we will also specify the value of the rebate amount. Let's say, for example, 2. So in this scenario, we have a rebate that is calculated on a per unit of measure basis. The unit of measure code is cases. It is specific value type, and the value itself is 2, meaning that for each case of a particular item that this rebate applies to, 2 units of either the specified currency code or the default currency code will be applied to the sales document. So for example, if this rebate is applicable to a sales document for 100 cases of the item sausage, and if we assign the item sausage to this rebate, and of course the respective customer, the rebate calculation will be 2 units for each case. And if our default currency code is dollars, then the total rebate amount will be $200 for the 100 cases. Now, what we can also do is we can calculate based off of a percentage of sales amount. When we select this option, the unit of measure code is no longer selectable or clickable. However, we will still specify the value if we want it to be a specific value. So let's say, for example, 5. Now, what this means is that a 5% rebate will be applied to the total sales document line. So for example, if we have a sales document line for $100, then 5% of that, or $5, will be calculated as the appropriate rebate. Something else we can do is we can change the value type, and this is both for percentage of sales amount or for per unit of measure. We can change the value type from specific to tiered if we want to enact a tiered rebate system. So when we do this, we can see that the value field is no longer clickable. However, this tiers button is now editable and clickable. If we click on this tiers button, we'll move to the rebate tiers page where we can specify how we want our tiered system to look. We'll go to the minimum field and we'll input the minimum amount, for example, 100. And we can include and specify the corresponding value. So I can say, for example, for $100 in the sales line amount, I want to apply a rebate value of 0.5 of the local currency. And I can make the rebate tier system look however I want it to. So I can say, well, for 200, the value we want to apply for the rebate is $1. And we can go on however we wish. Now, it's important to note that a rebate card to be active must be assigned to at least one customer. So if we go to the customer option here, we can specify the customer we want to assign this rebate to. We have different options in terms of the customer type we want to assign the rebate to. We can either specify a specific customer by themselves, we can apply this to all customers, or we can create and assign this to different customer price groups or discount groups, and even different customer rebate groups. So if I select the customer rebate group, I can then specify the rebate group that I want to include. I have one here created for meat producers. This is the customer rebate group I've already created. And what this means is that all customers that have been categorized as meat producers in their customer card, in their customer rebate group field, this rebate will apply to. So let's go and take a look, for example, at some of our customers. And let's say we want to select the customer tray research, customer 20,000. If we scroll down into the invoicing fast tab, we can see here that there's a field customer rebate group. And what I can do is I can actually assign the meat producers customer rebate group to this customer. And I can do this for one customer, for several customers, and so on and so forth. And what's going to happen in the previous page, in our rebate customers page, when we assign the rebate customer group, is that all the customers in which what I just did, that have the meat producers customer rebate group specified in their customer card, this rebate will apply to. And we don't have to just pick one specific customer type. We can include a customer group and specify a single customer. For example, I can also assign this to specifically customer 10,000 or a datum corporation. So on and so forth. We can specify the customer types and the customers we want to apply this to, however we see fit or however best fits the rebate program. Now, a very similar concept for items. We can also assign our rebate card or an item to our rebate card. And similarly, we can choose a single item, all items, different item categories, or similar to what I just did with the customer cards, item rebate groups and the different item cards. So for example, here I'll just select a specific item, and I want to say that I just want this rebate to apply to the item sausage or item F1. Now, moving on, we will go to the posting fast tab where we would just select our rebate posting group. Here, I've already made one, rebate posting group 1. And that is how we set up the rebate card. And once we have our rebate card all set up, we can go to the status field and switch the status from draft to active if we want this rebate to be active and applicable in our sales documents. Now let's take a look at the functionality of sales rebates through a scenario. So let's assume we have a sales order and we have a rebate program that is calculated based on percentage of sales, and it is for 5%. Let's assume the sales order is for the customer tray research and they have ordered 120 cases of the item sausage. Now the line amount for this order is $10,000, and as such the rebate amount should be $500. So first, let's take a look at our rebate card. Here we have rebate plan 3. Now once again, we can see it's active. It is calculated based on percentage of sales amount. Its value type is specific and it's set to 5%. Now, this rebate is connected to customer 20,000, which is tray research. And the item associated with it is item F1, which is sausage. So now let's take a look at our sales orders. And here we can see that we have a sales order for tray research, and it is for 125 cases of the item sausage. If we scroll over a little more, we can see that the line amount is $10,000 and the quantity shipped is 125 cases once again. Now we've already completed our item tracking. So from here, if we were to post, ship an invoice, we can see that the document is completed for 125 cases. And if we click on Find Entries, we'll see the rebate entry option. If we click on this, we'll go to the rebate entries page where we can find more information on the rebate entries. And we can see that the amount to be paid to the customer in dollars is $500. And the amount in the local currency is also $500 because our local currency is set to dollars. Now we can actually click on this field to open up the detailed rebate entries page, which just gives us some more information and more fields to look at, such as, for example, more information on the specific item, the document numbers, and so on. Now from here, what we need to do is we need to apply the rebate amount to the general ledger. And then once we've completed that, we can actually apply the rebate to the customer and have the transaction ready to be paid to them. So what we're going to do is we're going to search up post rebate to GL. And this will open up the post rebates to GL page where we'll fill out the fields as necessary. We'll select our customer, which is Cherry Research. Our rebate number is rebate plan 3, and the posting group is rebate posting group 1. Now, once we click on OK, now we can see that the amount posted to GL field has gone from 0 to 500, meaning that the $500 calculated rebate for this customer has been posted to the general ledger. Now, since we've completed this, our next step is to apply the rebate to the customer. And the way we would do this is we would search apply rebates to customers, which will open the apply rebates to customer page. And in the pay to customer number field, we'll select the customer number, which in this case is 20,000 for Cherry Research. And we can see that we get a line for the calculated rebate. Here, the remaining amount is set to 500. This is because this amount has not actually been applied to the customer. It has been calculated, however, and we can see here that the full amount has been posted to the general ledger. Now, if we scroll to the right, we can specify the amount to apply. So, for example, maybe we don't want to apply the full $500 just yet. We can apply a partial amount or the full amount altogether. In this case, we will apply the full $500. And here we can set the applies to ID, which if we want to set an ID for any transaction that's posted in this page, we can click on the set applies to ID. And what we would do now is we would post the application. Now, when we post the application, we get this page here. If we leave the use source document number on, of course, this rebate will just use the same information and document number as its source. We cannot click on the document number field here if this button is selected. If we turn it on, we can manually select the document number. Now, the leave rebates as open entries option is turned on when you want to leave the transaction open so you can apply the rebate manually later on. We don't want to do this right now, so we can just leave this off. However, this is an option if you would like to manually post the rebate to the rebate journal later on. We'll click on OK, and we can see that the application was posted successfully and the line has disappeared. Now from here, if we go back and we look at our rebate entries, we can see that we have the same rebate line for Cherry Research for the amount of 500. However, now we can see that the remaining amount field has been set to 0, meaning that the full $500 calculated rebate has been A, both posted to the general ledger, as we can see the 500 is posted here, but B, applied to the customer fully. Now let's take a look at a scenario where we have to reverse a rebate transaction using a sales credit memo. So here, if we go to our rebate entries page, we can see that we have a rebate in this scenario for $500 that has been fully applied to the customer and posted to the general ledger. Now, let's say that we actually have to reverse the sales document that this rebate is associated with, and therefore we'd also need to reverse the rebate that has already been applied to the customer. A way we can do this, of course, is through the sales credit memo. So if we go to our sales credit memos page, we can see here that we have a sales credit memo created for a Datum Corporation, which is the customer that the previous rebate was applied to. in the amount of 125 units. Now, of course, 125 units is the full $10,000 amount of the sales order. Therefore, reversing this transaction through a sales credit memo would reverse the entire $500 rebate amount. Now, if we click on Post, and if we click on Find Entries, we can see that once again there is a rebate entry. And of course, if we scroll to the right, we can see that now the amount is negative 500. The remaining amount is negative 500, and the amount posted to GL is now 0. So we've effectively just created a negative transaction for the corresponding rebate. And of course, we would follow the same steps as with any other sales document. We would first apply this amount to the general ledger and then apply it to the customer. So from here, I can go to Post Rebate to GL. Our customer is once again a Datum Corporation. The rebate number associated with the rebate transaction is rebate 1 in our posting group. I'll click on OK, and we can see that the amount posted to GL is now negative 500. Now all that's left is to apply the amount to the customer. Once again, we'll go to Apply Rebate to Customer. Here in the Pay to Customer Number field, we'll select a Datum Corporation once again, and we can see that we have a line for the negative 500. Again, in the amount to apply field, we can apply a partial or complete amount, but in this scenario, since we want to reverse the entire transaction and the entire rebate, we will go with negative 500. From here, I'll post the application. Of course, we will set to the use source document number to on, so we can automatically use the corresponding sales document, which in this case is the sales credit memo. I will leave rebates as open entries, and I will click on OK. The application was posted successfully. And if we go back to our rebate entry, we can see that the amount posted to GL is, of course, minus 500, and now the remaining amount is 0, meaning the negative $500 transaction has been applied to the customer, and we have effectively reversed our rebate transaction. Now, it's also important to note that we can calculate our rebate amounts manually. In the previous scenario, we used a sales credit memo to reverse a transaction and the rebate associated with that transaction, and the rebate amount that was to be reversed was calculated automatically. And if we go to our sales offer setup, we can see that the reason for this is that we have turned on the Calculate Sales Credit Memo Rebates button, which when turned on makes it so that sales credit memos use the same criteria as their corresponding sales invoices. However, if we turn this button off, we can calculate our rebate amount and the amount to be reversed manually. So if we take a look at our rebate entries, we can see here that we have a rebate in the amount of $240, which has been posted to the general ledger and applied to the customer. The posted sales invoice number is invoice 103217. Now let's say we want to reverse this transaction, reverse the rebate amount that has been applied to the customer. Of course, we would go to our sales credit memo. And here we have one, sales credit memo 1004, that does exactly this. It reverses the 60 cases, which corresponds to the posted sales invoice. And if we post this, and if we go on Find Entries, we can actually see that there is no rebate entry, unlike previously. This means that the rebate has not actually been calculated automatically, the amount we need to reverse. So what we can do from here is we can go to our rebate journal. And in the document type, we'll select credit memo. The corresponding document number is right here. And the document line number pertains to the item sausage. Our rebate number is for R1, rebate plan 1. And of course, we can conduct a partial or full rebate calculation in the amount section. So let's say, for example, we want to actually reverse the entire 240 amount. What we do is we would enter negative 240. And from here, there are many different actions and tools we can use to help guide us through this process. For example, if we go to related rebate, we can actually see the corresponding rebate card and rebate entries. Once again, we'll click on rebate entries to confirm that this is for the $240 rebate calculation. And now if we click on posting and post, we can once again go to our rebate entries and we can see now that we have the negative 240 for the corresponding sales credit memo. We have reversed this transaction. So now what we need to do again is we need to post this to the general ledger and apply this to the customer. Post rebate to GL. This is for Datum Corporation. We're using R1 in the same rebate posting group. We'll click on OK. We can see the amount posted to GL has now become negative 240. Now all that's left is we will apply rebate to customer. In the pay to customer number field, we'll select a Datum Corporation once again. And we can see the negative $240 amount. Once again, we can do a partial or full application. Here we'll do the full 240. And we will post the application. Now if we go back to our rebate entries, here we can see that the negative 240 amount has been posted to the general ledger and now has also been applied to the customer. Now, in addition, it's important to note that if we go to rebate journal, we can manually calculate for both posted credit memos, sales credit memos, as well as for posted sales invoices.